What's going on YouTube? Bacon here bringing another video. This one going to be my semifinals match for the SSBL Minors Season 1. As I had mentioned in my previous video, we actually got the same matchup for semifinals that we had in the final week of the regular season. Going up once again here against Tepig and the Sydney Sableyes. For that original game, we of course had done the meme match that you guys saw posted last week. This one obviously for real in the playoffs here. And I'll go a little bit more in depth in the team builder here than I had in the previous video. So let's get right into it. Looking at the matchup here, Tepig's got the Deoxys Speed, Kieran Black, Mega Scizor, Gengar, Seismitoad, Swellow, Comfey, Gligar, Scrafty, Lantern, Magmortar, and Swalot. I believe his Z users were Kieran Black and Lantern, although I don't have them noted here. Kieran Black, obviously a very huge threat versus any team. Great wall breaker, just Z Ice can nuke a lot of teams. Also Life Orb offensive kind of thing with like Fusion Bolt, Ice Beam, Earth Power, Roost, whatever. You'll see a pretty wide array of Kieran Black sets. It's a Pokemon I've used myself quite frequently, and it's really threatening to prep for in general. Versus me, he definitely does need to be carrying Earth Power to hit something like my Mega Mawile and my Rotom Wash. For sure he'll be carrying Earth Power. I don't know if he'd run like a Life Orb set, or if he'd run like Salt Vest. Z-Move, of course, is obviously an option. Choice Scarf is also an okay option versus me. Not too sure what he'd want to be running on the Kieran Black set. It does have some issues with my Lycanroc Dusk, but otherwise I don't have a ton of stuff that outspeeds it besides that, my Blacephalon, and my Serperior, I believe. So could definitely see him bringing the Kieran Black set in this game. AV is something that's kind of heavily on my mind. Substitute's also very dangerous to try and set up in front of my Rotom Wash, for example, so I could see Sub Roost as well as kind of another option with Ice Beam and Earth Power. But definitely ice coverage plus ground coverage makes a lot of sense versus me. I don't know what else he'd want to be running on that front. Otherwise, threats versus me, Deoxys Speed is just really difficult to deal with. In draft, I think that mod is stupid. Like, there's a restriction in this league that it can't be Z-Move, which helps a little bit. But the fact that it is base 180 speed means it needs absolutely no speed to outrun my entire team. It could probably run a negative speed nature and still outrun everything. With a base 180 speed, I believe that means it doesn't need to outrun, or doesn't need any speed investment to outrun base 130 and below. And base 130, if you don't know, is Tapu Koko speed tier. So some of the fastest mons in the format, it just doesn't need speed investment to outrun, which means it does have the freedom to run a ton of bulk, like max HP pretty much every week. It can run attack boosting natures, special attack boosting, or physical attack boosting natures. So you look at it and you say, oh, it's just base 95s on its attacks and its defenses. Well, it's going to be severely augmented by the fact that it can run bulk, can run attack boosting natures, and really either augment its kind of ability to tank hits or ability to deal out damage. Just great coverage on that mon as well. I don't know all this stuff off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it does get Focus Blast and Super Power. It gets Ice Beam, gets things like Taunt, Spikes, Stealth Rocks. Great anti-lead option as well, lead/anti-lead option. In Ubers, you'll see it run something like Spikes, Taunt, Magic Coat, Stealth Rocks, something like that. Just in general, very difficult mon to prep for, and just really stupid in the format, in my opinion. But again, it's a kind of interesting set of things that we have freed in this league for this season, so it definitely fits in with some of the other stuff that's unbanned, like Tapu Lele, Ash Greninja. It's just a really difficult mon to prep for on that front. Otherwise, threats versus my team, I think that was like kind of the big two offensive threats with Deoxys and Kieran Black. Defensively, it can be a little bit difficult for me to break the Gligar. My Serperior should help with that to some extent. I kind of expect to see either it or Magmortar or both in this game, as he did end up bringing both to help deal with my Mega Mawile to some extent, because there's not a whole lot on his team that wants to take a hit from Mega Mawile. Magmortar definitely makes sense because it could potentially flame body me. It does resist my dual stab. Substitute Magmortar could be potentially very scary to help deal with Sucker Punch. Definitely a couple things there that I'm going to have to watch out for in this match. But yeah, with that being said, let's get into my team builder here. Kind of looking at last week's team to the extent that I can in a meme match. There's one thing that I kind of picked up on, which was that my speed boosting Blacephalon was actually really good in this matchup. So I still wanted to bring it, and that's going to be kind of anchoring the team here. I'll get to it in a second. But kind of the idea with this game was kind of cleaning late game with that speed boosting Blacephalon. So with that in mind, let's get into my team builder end here. Starting off with Two-Faced Mega Mawile, running Intimidate is my pretty mega ability, as I have been. Play Rough, Fire Fang, Sucker Punch, and Iron Head. So just 4 attacks on my Mawile here, and I'm actually running a pretty bulky set with max HP and a ton of special defense investment. This means he would have to be Groundium Z, max special attack, Earth Power on his Curum to knock me out. Otherwise, I should live any hit that thing wants to go for and be able to blow it away with a Play Rough. With the 100 attack investment and also still running an Adamant Nature, I do have enough attack investment to guarantee KO the Curum Black from full, unless he's running a Berry. But again, running a Berry against Mawile when it doubles super effective, or hits you double super effective with its stabs, not really a great look, so I don't think he'd run a Berry versus me. Like I said, I think he'd be like Assault Vest or Sub Roost kind of thing on the Curum this game, so just really nicely able to offensively pressure his team with this set. Sucker Punch can obviously hit the Gengar. Again, it's another Pokemon I need to watch out for him running Substitute on, but Sucker Punch can obviously pick that off. Pick off some of his weakened threats, things like the Magmortar doesn't really have great physical defense, but again, need to watch out for Substitute on all these Pokemon. Fire Fang specifically hits the Scizor. I can't remember if it OHKOs from full, it might depend on his investment, but it should do a very healthy chunk of damage to that thing, if not knock it out. Again, depending on his spread there. Just really decent offensive threat in this matchup, things that I can outspeed. Well, I guess I don't outspeed a whole lot on his team, but things I can take a hit from and kind of do some big damage back, I can really threaten in this match, specifically the Curum Black. I felt like I needed kind of a wealth of offensive checks to that Pokemon, because you really can't check it defensively to the extent that Curum Black is checkable defensively. Maybe Mega Scizor might do the best, honestly, and he's got that on his team. So Mawile here, Intimidate's really nice. It's a decent lead option for me. I can switch in on the Mega Scizor, but otherwise just kind of click buttons versus team and see what happens. It's the idea with the Mega Mawile. With the Espeons investment, I can also take on the Comfey a little bit better if I need to, and also live I believe I live a Choice Specs Heat Wave from the Swallow if need be. Next up here is 9 Inch Nails, the Lycanroc Dusk, running Life Orb Lycanroc with Swords Dance, Stone Edge, Accelerock, and Return. Running max attack, Jolly Nature. Stone Edge, I mean, rock coverage in general is really all I need versus team. I believe his only rock resist is the Scrafty, if I'm not mistaken, because the Scizor does not resist rock, and neither does the Gligar. Seismitoad as well. So if you happen to bring the Seismitoad, I felt like Return was kind of the best option. It hit both that and the Scrafty pretty nicely, actually. Tough Claw's boosted Return, I believe, is base 132 or something like that. So it's a pretty decent damage output move at +2. I think I can KO Seismitoad after Stealth Rocks with a +2 Life Orb Return, if I'm not mistaken. So Return is definitely no joke on this Pokemon, but the rock coverage is really what it's here for. Accelerock helps me out against the Scizor, which can obviously revenge me with Bullet Punch. Also helps me to guarantee kind of outspeed some of his faster threats, things like Gengar, Swallow, Deoxys Speed I can pick off with an Accelerock there. Otherwise, I'm pretty much clicking Stone Edge versus team. This is kind of my primary offensive check to the Curum Black. If it kills something, or I get it in from like a Volt Switch or whatever. I guess I don't have Rotom Wash this week, but if I get it in from like a U-turn from my Uxie, I can potentially threaten his team with Stone Edge. He doesn't have great switch-ins. Scrafty and Seismitoad I didn't feel like were amazing versus me in the first place, and you can see he didn't either because he didn't bring them. But I think Lycanroc can definitely put in some work versus team. I don't know that it can necessarily clean in this match. I need a lot of chip for that to happen, specifically on the Scizor. But definitely potentially able to break early in the game, pick off 1 or 2 of his Mons. It's kind of Lycanroc's job in this one, and I think it's got a pretty good matchup from that respect. Next up here is Friend of Dave, the Alolan Muck, running Assault Vest with Poison Touch, Knockoff, Pursuit, Poison Jab, and Fire Punch. Running Max Attack, Adamant Nature with a ton of Spadef investment. This is, I think, the standard set for Assault Vest, Alolan Muck, and OU. Quote-unquote OU, UU, I guess, would be more the case, but Assault Vest Alolan Muck really helps me do a couple things in this match. The first is to help take on the Deoxys Speed a little bit better, potentially Pursuit Trap that thing if I can catch it on the switch with my Muck here. It also allows me to take hits from Swallow, allows me to take hits from Magmortar, special variants of Curum Black, all that kind of stuff. I'll take a lot better with the Alolan Muck. Knockoff is just really nice to spam versus team, especially with the 30% chance to poison. I felt like Gligar was a pretty likely switch into the Alolan Muck here, so removing its Eviolite would be really nice for something like my Lycanroc, allowing me to potentially KO it with a Stone Edge later in the match. And Fire Punch is there specifically, again, to hit the Scizor. It doesn't KO it by any means, but it should do about half, which is really all I need it to do in this matchup. Keep the Scizor chipped, keep it in range of something like a Accelerock from my Lycanroc, and I should be pretty good to go during this match. Olo Muck just really nice in this game. If you happen to bring Gengar, obviously I could pursuit trap that thing all day. He's not going to 2-hit KO me with anything, so he basically have to double out of Gengar every time if he happened to bring it. Probably why he left it off the table here. Great for me, but Olo Muck obviously has a great matchup on that thing, so not too surprised to see that he didn't end up bringing it. Just really nice to take special hits versus team in general. Next up here, we've got Giant Brain the Uxie running Wiki Berry with Stealth Rock, Knockoff, Toxic, and Dazzling Gleam. Running max HP with a ton of physical defense investment, Impish Nature. Or not Impish, what is that? Relaxed Nature on the minus speed on this one. And then a tiny little bit into Spit Def. This is kind of not a check to the Kieran Black, but I can take any hit that it wants to go for and get a Toxic off on it to potentially keep that thing's status from worn down over the course of the match, or just fire off Dazzling Gleams against it, prevent it from getting up a substitute in front of my face. Dazzling Gleam should do about 35 to 40% to it, so it's a decent chunk of damage. Put it in range of potentially my Lycanroc later or something like that. Definitely a pretty good, again, not check to the Kieran Black, which is something that I can lead off with and not worry about. Well, if he leads Kieran Black, he's just going to kill something with Z-move. Uxie should be able to tank the hit. I'm actually EV'd such that he'll guaranteed pop my berry with a Z-Freeze Shock if he happens to go for that, which would put me right back to like 70-75% or so, depending on the roll he gets. So able to kind of keep the Uxie healthy while wasting off his Z-move. Knockoff is there specifically for the, well, I guess not specifically, but it's mostly there for the Deoxys speed, get rid of whatever item it might be carrying. Like I said, you can't run a Z move on the Deoxys, so that's kind of nice for me. Knockoff can also cripple things like his Gligar, removing its EV Light once again. Helps out my my Lycanroc to a good degree, and also my Blacephalon somewhat. And Stealth Rock's there is just really important to chip down, specifically the Kieran Black, but also kind of some of his more pivoty, defensive pivoty type mons like Lantern, Gligar, chip down the Magmortar if he happened to bring that, as he did for my Mega Mawile. So getting up Stealth Rocks in this match, I feel like it's better for me than it is for him, so I don't mind having them up on both sides of the field in this one. Next up here is Serp Sweat the Serperior, of course running Contrary with leftovers, Substitute, Leech Seed, Leaf Storm, and HP Fire, running max special attack with a Timid Nature. Obviously, Leaf Storm into HP Fire is going to do some big damage to the Scizor. It's great Scizor lure on the team. I don't believe I KO by any means at +2 with an HP Fire, but again, it's all about kind of getting it in range of an Accelerock from my Lycanroc Dusk later in the match. Substitute allows me to dodge status from things like Gligar. I could potentially sub up in that thing's face unless he's carrying U-turn. Some options here for the Serperior in this one. Getting Leech Seeds off on his team really helps ease my switch-ins. If he happens to go like Gengar after I substitute into Leech Seed, that allows me to really ease my switch into Alolan Muck with no problem. And just kind of spreading the chip around his team is really great in general for helping me try to clean something like Lycanroc or Blacephalon. Again, been hyping up the Blacephalon here. Brain Blast coming in with Ghostium Z, Shadow Ball, Fire Blast, Calm Mind, and HP Grass. Running the speed boosting set, so that's Timid with a bunch of HP investment to make sure that my speed outweighs my special attack stat. But the idea here is just kind of get the +1/+1 from Calm Mind boost, potentially set up in front of something like Scizor, predicting it to switch out. And then get my Calm Mind up, Z something, get that speed boost, and start to clean his team. There's not a whole lot on his team that wants to take hits from me. One of the potential things I had identified was like Seismitoad, so that's kind of why my last move is HP Grass. I didn't feel like I needed another move on Blacephalon anyways, besides the Shadow Ball and Fire Blast. So like, you know what, screw it, I'll run HP Grass in case he happens to bring Seismitoad. I can at least threaten that thing, and maybe even without a Calm Mind boost, potentially get my speed boost going late in the match if I can. But again, like I mentioned in the meme match, when I was using the physical Flame Charge Blacephalon, kind of a similar idea. I said, hey, Speed Boost Blacephalon actually has a really good matchup in this one. It thankfully can outspeed the Deoxys at +1, if only barely, which is insane. But it can outspeed the Deoxys at +1 and really start to clean his team late in the match. Obviously, I do resist the Bullet Punch from the Mega Scizor, so priority is not a huge deal from that front. And Swallow, while it can hit me with Scrappy normal type moves, probably wouldn't be carrying Quick Attack if he's running Scrappy. And if he is running Quick Attack, he's probably running Guts. So I wasn't too concerned for priority on his team. I should also mention Comfey, I guess, in that respect, because it does get the priority healing moves with Draining Kiss and Giga Drain. Again, I resist both of those. So none of his priorities particularly threatening to Blacephalon, which means that at +1, barring Choice Scarfers, I'm really in a good position to do some damage to his team. I guess Scarf Gengar would be a potential check to Blacephalon, but that gets eaten up by my Muck. So would have to scout for that if he had brought it, but otherwise I think Blacephalon has a really nice matchup on this one. Not a whole lot on his team is really going to be able to take the neutral Ghost DMZ, never mind a +1. And if I do remove like an Eviolite from Gligar, that thing should die, I believe, to a neutral Ghost DMZ. So yeah, that's a little bit more in-depth look at this matchup than I had given in my previous game versus Tepig, but let's get into it here. He's got the Mega Scizor, Deoxys Speed, Lantern, Magmortar, Kyurem Black, and the Gligar, so he actually went with a lot more bulk than I was expecting for this matchup. I'm not too surprised, like I said, to not see the Gengar, but it did threaten my team pretty decently, so I'm pretty glad not to see it, despite the fact that I had the little Muck. Kyurem Black, obviously, like I mentioned, is always a threat, so I want to lead with something that doesn't automatically get bopped by it right off the bat. Kind of at lead, I felt like my best matchup was Uxie. The only thing that it really didn't match up very well versus was the Scizor, and I can just switch into my Mega Mawile, get the Intimidate drop on him right off the bat if need be, but I feel like Uxie, like I said, kind of matched up the best versus him, and it's something that can take a hit from Kyurem Black and not care too much. So that's what I'm going to do here, is lead with the Uxie. If he leads with Kyurem Black, I at least have Dazzling Gleam on there to get a good chunk of damage off on it. But instead he actually opts to lead Gligar, which is fine by me. He probably just wants to get up Stealth Rocks. I want to do the same at some point, but the first thing I want to do is knock off this Gligar as he does go for the Stealth Rocks. Getting rid of its Eviolite's really going to make Lycanroc's job a lot easier in this matchup, so anything I can do to help that thing out, help Blacephalon out, fine by me. Remove the Eviolite from the Gligar, and now I can get up my rocks anyways. It's not like this Gligar was really a particular threat to the Uxie in the first place, outside of maybe Toxicking me, which I don't think this is going to be a particularly long game, so I don't care about it. But getting my Stealth Rocks up here is really nice. Able to chip down the Magmortar and the Kyurem Black on switch in. It's going to be really great for me in this match. So get the Stealth Rocks up there and switch out. Go into my Mega Mawile, as I mentioned, to get the Intimidate drop on the Scizor, and just kind of predicting him to go for U-turn, maybe knock off here if anything. But he actually shows the Toxic on the Mega Scizor this turn, so looks like a great play, but again, it's kind of just my best switch into Scizor in general. Would have resisted the U-turn pretty nicely, knock off pretty nicely, whatever. Here I'm just going to go for the Sucker Punch, predicting him to U-turn out. There's no reason kind of for him not to U-turn out, and I want to get some chip damage off on this Scizor to put it in range of a potential +2 Accelerock later in the game. I don't know. It's going to be close, I think, at this point, depending on his investment, if he's in range of a +2 Accelerock, but he's going to U-turn out into Gligar there, and I'm going to decide to stay in here with Mega Mawile, predicting him to U-turn out. I've been making way too many aggressive plays with Mawile, as I mentioned in a previous match. Let me pause it for a second. As I mentioned in a previous match, I've been making way too many aggressive plays with Mawile here. I really probably should just switch into Superior. But I let him do a good chunk of damage with an Earthquake to my Mega Mawile here, and I don't even get anything out of it because I unfortunately missed yet another Play Rough with my Mega Mawile. It seems like it's been the theme of the season, is just missing Play Rough with Mawile this time. So I don't really know why I stayed in there. I don't think it was really worth it, because even if I do knock out the Gligar there, like, what have I really gained? I've already knocked off its Eviolite, so it's not really a great check to my Lycanroc anymore anyways. Definitely not worth it there to stay in with the Mega Mawile just to knock this thing out, but I did, and I didn't even get rewarded for it because I missed. So, you know, get punished pretty hard there, get a little bit more chip damage off with Sucker Punch as he's going to knock me out with Earthquake. I didn't really feel like Mega Mawile could do what it was supposed to anymore anyways. Now that it Mega Evolved and lost Intimidate, it's not a great switch into Mega Scizor with all that chip damage on it, and I'm not going to live in Earth Power from Kyurem Black anymore. So I felt like, okay, just throw away the Mega Mawile, forget about that set, it's gone. Superior is able to come out here and easily revenge kill this Gligar. Without its Eviolite, it's not going to take this Leaf Storm, so pretty free +2 boost for me. That's great. There's not a whole lot that he wants to bring in on me. Deoxys is not going to knock me out. Lantern is obviously hugely threatened by me. Kyurem Black, he has to watch out for if I'm carrying like Dragon Pulse, and obviously he's going to be fearing HP Fire with his Scizor, so Magmortar is kind of his best option here, and obviously I don't have too much to touch it on this Superior set, but I do have an Assault Vest Alolan Muck that was basically mostly here for the Gengar anyways, so I've got no problem going out into that as he goes for the overheat. Definitely not choice specs, so potential substitute variant or choice scarf mag mortar there. The fact that he's showing overheat makes me think more like choice scarf. So that's kind of something to keep in my head. But obviously he's not going to stay in here, so I'm going to go right for the fire punch, predicting the scissor to come out. Do a good chunk of damage to it. I think that does reveal that he's max phys def, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just going to stay in here with Muck and knock him out. Again, like I don't have great switch-ins to the Mega Scizor here, especially now that my Mawile is gone. But I'm going to stay in here and go for another Fire Punch with my Muck just to knock him out. If he decides to try and like roost stall me, he really can't do that as long as I'm clicking Fire Punch. And getting rid of this thing, like I mentioned, was great for my Lycanroc if I could manage to do that. Unfortunately, he crits me with a Bullet Punch there. Obviously, would not have died without the crit. What can you do? He knocks me out with a Bullet Punch there. Unfortunately, unable to clean up the Scizor with the Muck, which means I'm going to have to go out into my Lycanroc, take some Rocks damage, take some Life Orb chip, being able to Accel Rock the Scizor. There's really no reason for him to save it at this point, because it's dead to Rocks, so just going to Accel Rock here and knock it out. But like I mentioned, do unfortunately take some Rocks and Life Orb chip that I really didn't want to on my Lycanroc at this point in the game. Otherwise, I'm doing okay here. Like Lycanroc is still looking pretty nice here, but Deoxys comes out, and without my Muck, I really don't have great switch-ins anymore, unfortunately. I do have to save my Lycanroc, though, because it's my best offensive check to his Kyurem Black. So I'm actually going to go out into Oxy here, because I believe he just goes straight for the Iron Defense. Yep. So he does reveal Iron Defense on this Deoxys. I'm like, okay, what the heck is this thing? Does it have, like, stored power? Like, what kind of set is this? I'm just going to go for Toxic, because clearly it's some kind of setup variant. So I'm going to go for Toxic here as he decides to switch out. Goes into his Lantern here to take the Toxic. If he's got the Heal Bell, it's no big deal for him, but at least getting a Toxic off on Lantern is good for the Blacephalon. Potentially allow me to kill it later in the game with like a +1 Z move. And I'm going to knock off here to even kind of further weaken this Lantern. Really trying to set up for that Blacephalon win here. Definitely potential for it to do so, now that I know he's not like obviously Choice Scarf Deoxys or anything like that. And like I mentioned, I'm pretty sure he's Choice Scarf Magmortar, but at +1 speed, I'm not going to have to worry about that. So anyways, get the knockoff off, remove the Lantern's item there, and really chip it down quite nicely. As he brings the Deoxys back out and goes for knockoff himself, gets rid of my Berry, but I actually go for knockoff as well, and proc a Weakness Policy. So, Weakness Policy, Iron Defense, Deoxys Speed. What the heck? Very scary Pokemon here, sitting in front of me. Thankfully, he did not go for Iron Defense that turn, or I would have been in a really bad spot. But because I'd already shown Toxic, I guess he probably figured that was probably not the best play. But he's able to kill me with the two knockoffs there. I'm just able to get into my Lycanroc here. Accel Rock is going to be able to pick off the Deoxys from this range, even if he is running max HP like I expect him to be. Going to be able to pick it off from the Accel Rock here and knock it out. So really, again, my Lycanroc's looking pretty nice here as long as I can hit all my moves. Magmortar's in range of Life Orb Accel Rock. Kyurem Black is in range of Stone Edge, obviously, after Rocks. And I believe the Lantern is also in range of Stone Edge after Rocks. But I really don't want to risk missing here, because if I miss, I basically lose. So what I like to do instead is just go for a Accel Rock, get the chip damage that I need on Kyurem Black for me to knock it out with my Blacephalon, as he just goes straight for Ice Beam to KO me. So like if I go for Stone Edge there and I miss, like I said, I lose. Like if I go out to Blacephalon and Z move, I'm not going to knock him out from 76% at neutral. And then I could try to clean with Serperior, but I'm pretty sure, like I mentioned, that is a Choice Scarf variant of Magmortar at this point. So I really need to win with Blacephalon, if anything, at this point in the match, which means I need 1, chip damage on this Kyurem Black, and 2, to save my Z for either the Lantern or the Magmortar, assuming I'm at neutral, for either the Lantern or the Magmortar. So what I'm going to do here is let my Lycanroc go down to get the chip damage I need off on Kyurem Black, send out my Blacephalon, and click Fire Blast. So this turn I'm clicking Fire Blast over Shadow Ball, because if he is Assault Vest Kyurem Black, which he has a very non-zero chance of being, Shadow Ball is not going to knock him out. If he is Assault Vest Kyurem Black, Shadow Ball is not going to knock him out. Fire Blast will. So I figured, okay, since there's kind of a non-zero chance of him being Assault Vest, I need to click that Fire Blast and see what I can do. I do click the Fire Blast, and I miss. And I'm sitting there like, come on, man. I already got crit by the freaking Scizor. What else? I missed something else in this game. The Play Rough I missed with my Mega Mawile earlier in the game. Like, come on, man. I can't hit a freaking attack. And I figured I just lost this game because he's just going to Earth Power and knock me out. But he actually goes for Roost this turn, which I think he even mentioned at the end of the game was a huge choke. Like, if he had just knocked out my Blacephalon, this game was over. I don't know what he was trying to save the Kyurem Black's health for, but he went for Roost that turn. Huge misplay on his end, and I kind of have to hope at this point that he's pure special Kyurem Black, which means I could set up on it. He goes for Earth Power there, as he does appear to be just kind of dual stat, potentially the sub roost set that I was talking about earlier. Goes for Earth Power, but at +1 SPDF, I do take it. And I'm going to be able to knock him out with the +1 Z move from my Blacephalon here. And because I do have the +1 speed boost, I will outspeed a Choice Scarf variant of Magmortar. I do still potentially lose this game though, because Lantern should be able to come out here and live a Shadow Ball. But he makes kind of another misplay here and goes out into his Magmortar instead, not seeing that I got the speed boost because he actually got a SPDF drop on me with Earth Power, which made it look like I was still sitting at like 1.5, 1.5 special attack and SPDF. But that's actually a speed boost there, so I'm able to KO the Magmortar as well. And that's going to be more or less the game at this point. Lantern comes out. Big kind of mistake on his end there, because Lantern, as you're going to see, is going to eat up the Shadow Ball pretty nicely, with no problem really, and be able to KO my Blacephalon. The only kind of solace, or the only hope I'd have in this game, was that when he went out into Lantern to revenge kill me, as opposed to going Magmortar, I could potentially have subbed up on it with my Superior and knocked it out. He was a Sleep Talk variant of the Lantern, as you're going to see here. It's a Rest Talk variant, but he only had Scald and Volt Switch, which both do not break my substitute. So my only hope was basically that he didn't go hard Magmortar. Yeah, it was basically that he didn't go hard Magmortar on the substitute play from my Superior, because I wouldn't have had anything to knock him out from the range he was at. But because he went the Magmortar first, it basically guaranteed that I won the game by doing a little bit of damage with Shadow Ball, and then just spamming Leaf Storm at him until I hit, basically. Which I am thankfully able to hit the first one, KO the Lantern, and win this game. Obviously not as clean as I would have liked it to be. We ended up picking up the 1-0 victory in a very close game, very good game to Tepig. This game was just really frustrating for me to play through, because I was sitting here like, man, I missed Player Off, I missed Fire Blast, got crit by Bullet Punch. Nothing seemed to be going my way. Thankfully, we were still able to pull it out and make it to finals here. Great season to Tepig. He actually, I believe, was in the D-League last season and got promoted to Minors when it opened up. So definitely a very nice season for him in his first season in Minors as well. Definitely looking forward to what he can do next season. But we are going to take our way up to the finals here. We're actually getting another game against Love Chance, who took over in the middle of the season for a team that was not doing super hot. But he's managed to bring it all the way through the playoffs to the finals here, and we're going to get another game there. I believe we won that game last time pretty handily. It's like 4 or 5-0, because starter Eevee was just a monster in that match. But definitely excited to get another chance to play against him. He's had a chance to make some changes to his team since the last time we played, so it's definitely kind of a fresh matchup in that respect. So keep your eyes out for that one. That should be coming up next week. Thank you guys very much for watching to this point. If you did, I hope to see you guys in another video. I'll catch you later. Bye.